Genesis 36. Now these are the generations of Esau, that is to say, Edom. Esau's wives were women of Canaan: Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Basemath, Ishmael's daughter, the sister of Nebaioth. Adah had a son, Eliphaz, and Basemath was the mother of Reuel. Oholibamah was the mother of Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, whose birth took place in the land of Canaan. Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters, and all the people of his house, and his beasts and his cattle and all his goods which he had got together in the land of Canaan, and went into the land of Seir, away from his brother Jacob. For their wealth was so great that the land was not wide enough for the two of them and all their cattle. So Esau made his living place in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in the hill country of Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Esau's wife Adah, and Reuel, the son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Taman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And Eliphaz, the son of Esau, had connection with a woman named Timnah, who gave birth to Amalek. All these were the children of Esau's wife Adah. And these are the sons of Reuel: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. They were the children of Esau's wife Basemath. And these are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon. She was the mother of Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These were the chiefs among the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz. Esau's first son: Taman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, Amalek. All these were chiefs in the land of Edom, the offspring of Eliphaz, the seed of Adah. And these are the sons of Esau's son Reuel: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, Mizah. These were the chiefs of Reuel in the land of Edom, the children of Esau's wife Basemath. And these are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah, Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These were the chiefs who came from Esau's wife Oholibamah, daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Esau, that is Edom, and these were their chiefs. These are the sons of Seir the Horite who were living in that country: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chiefs of the Horites, offspring of Seir in the land of Edom. The children of Lotan were Hori and Hemam. Lotan's sister was Timnah. And these are the children of Shobal: Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepo, and Onam. And these are the children of Zibeon: Ayah and Anah, that same Anah who made the discovery of the water springs in the wasteland, when he was looking after the asses of his father Zibeon. And these are the children of Anah: Dishon and Oholibamah his daughter. These are the children of Dishon: Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Karen. These are the children of Ezer, Bilhan, Zavan, and Akan. These are the children of Dishan: Uz and Aaron. These were the Horite chiefs: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. Such were the Horite chiefs in their order in the land of Seir. And these are the kings who were ruling in the land of Edom, before there was any king over the children of Israel. Bela, son of Beor, was king in Edom, and the name of his chief town was Dinhabah. At his death, Jobab, son of Zerah of Bozrah, became king in his place. And at the death of Jobab, Husham from the country of the Temanites became king in his place. And at the death of Husham, Hadad, son of Bedad, who overcame the Midianites in the field of Moab, became king. His chief town was named Avith. And at the death of Hadad, Samlah of Masrekah became king. And at the death of Samlah, Shaul of Rehoboth by the river became king in his place. And at the death of Shaul, Baalhanan, son of Achbor, became king. And at the death of Baalhanan, Hadar became king in his place. His chief town was named Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel. She was the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. These are the names of the chiefs of Esau in the order of their families and their places: Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Oholibamah, Elah, Pinon, Kenaz, Taman, Mibzar, Magdiel, Iram. These are the Edomite chiefs in their places and their heritage. This is Esau, the father of the Edomites. Genesis 37. Now Jacob was living in the land where his father had made a place for himself in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, a boy 17 years old, was looking after the flock, together with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph gave their father a bad account of them. Now the love which Israel had for Joseph was greater than his love for all his other children. because he got him when he was an old man, and he had a long coat made for him, and because his brothers saw that Joseph was dearer to his father than all the others, they were full of hate for him, and would not say a kind word to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and he gave his brothers an account of it, which made their hate greater than ever. And he said to them, "Let me give you the story of my dream. We were in the field, getting the grain stems together, and my grain kept upright, and yours came round and went down on the earth before mine." And his brothers said to him, "Are you to be our king? Will you have authority over us?" And because of his dream and his words, their hate for him became greater than ever. Then he had another dream, and gave his brothers an account of it, saying, "I have had another dream. The sun and the moon and 11 stars gave honor to me." And he gave word of it to his father and his brothers. But his father, protesting, said, "What sort of a dream is this? Am I and your mother and your brothers to go down on our faces to the earth before you?" And his brothers were full of envy, but his father kept his words in mind. Now his brothers went to keep watch over their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers with the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." And he said to him, "Here am I." And he said to him, "Go now, and see if your brothers are well and how the flock is. Then come back and give me word." So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a man saw him wandering in the country, and said to him, "What are you looking for?" And he said, "I am looking for my brothers. Please give me word of where they are keeping their flock." And the man said, "They have gone away from here, for they said in my hearing, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after them and came up with them at Dothan. But they saw him when he was a long way off. And before he came near them, they made a secret design against him to put him to death, saying to one another, "See, here comes this dreamer. Let us now put him to death and put his body into one of these holes. And we will say, 'An evil beast has put him to death.' Then we will see what becomes of his dreams." But Reuben, hearing these words, got him out of their hands, saying, "Let us not take his life. Do not put him to a violent death, but let him be placed in one of the holes." This he said to keep him safe from their hands, with the purpose of taking him back to his father again. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they took off his long coat which he had on, and they took him and put him in the hole. Now the hole had no water in it. Then seating themselves, they took their meal, and looking up, they saw a traveling band of Ishmaelites, coming from Gilead on their way to Egypt, with spices and perfumes on their camels. And Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is there in putting our brother to death and covering up his blood? Let us give him to these Ishmaelites for a price, and let us not put violent hands on him, for he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers gave ear to him. And some traders from Midian went by. So pulling Joseph up out of the hole, they gave him to the Ishmaelites for 20 bits of silver, and they took him to Egypt. Now when Reuben came back to the hole, Joseph was not there. And giving signs of grief, he went back to his brothers and said, "The child is gone, what am I to do?" Then they took Joseph's coat, and put on it some of the blood from a young goat which they had put to death. And they took the coat to their father, and said, "We came across this, is it your son's coat or not?" And he saw that it was, and said, "It is my son's coat, an evil beast has put him to death. Without doubt Joseph has come to a cruel end." Then Jacob, giving signs of grief, put on haircloth, and went on weeping for his son day after day. And all his sons and all his daughters came to give him comfort. But he would not be comforted, saying with weeping, "I will go down to the underworld to my son." So great was his father's sorrow for him. And in Egypt the men of Midian gave him for a price to Potiphar, a captain of high position in Pharaoh's house. Genesis 38. Now at that time, Judah went away from his brothers and became the friend of a man of Adullam named Hira. And there he saw the daughter of a certain man of Canaan named Shua, and took her as his wife. And she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name And again she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Onan. Then she had another son, to whom she gave the name Shelah. She was at Chezib when the birth took place. And Judah took a wife for his first son and her name was Tamar. Now Judah's first son, did evil in the eyes of the Lord, so that he put him to death. Then Judah said to Onan, "Go into your brother's wife, and do what it is right for a husband's brother to do. Make her your wife, and get offspring for your brother." But Onan, seeing that the offspring would not be his, went into his brother's wife, but let his seed go on to the earth, so that he might not get offspring for his brother. And what he did was evil in the eyes of the Lord, so that he put him to death like his brother. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Go back to your father's house and keep yourself as a widow till my son, Shelah, becomes a man." For he had in his mind the thought that death might come to him as it had come to his brothers. So Tamar went back to her father's house. And after a time Bathshua, Judah's wife, came to her end. And after Judah was comforted for her loss, he went to Timnah, where they were cutting the wool of his sheep. And his friend Hira of Adullam went with him. And when Tamar had news that her father-in-law was going up to Timnah to the wool cutting, she took off her widow's clothing, and covering herself with her veil, she took her seat near Enaim on the road to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah was now a man, but she had not been made his wife. When Judah saw her, he took her to be a loose woman of the town, because her face was covered. And turning to her by the roadside, he said to her, "Let me come in to you," for he had no idea that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What will you give me as my price?" And he said, "I will give you a young goat from the flock." And she said, "What will you give me as a sign till you send it?" And he said, "What would you have?" And she said, "Your ring and its cord and the stick in your hand." So he gave them to her and went into her, and she became with child by him. Then she got up and went away and took off her veil and put on her widow's clothing. Then Judah sent his friend Hira with the young goat to get back the things which he had given as a sign to the woman, but she was not there. And he put questions to the men of the place, saying, "Where is the loose woman who was in Enaim by the wayside?" And they said, "There was no such woman there." So he went back to Judah and said, "I have not seen her." And the men of the place say that there is no such woman there. And Judah said, "Let her keep the things, so that we may not be shamed. I sent the young goat, but you did not see the woman." Now about 3 months after this, word came to Judah that Tamar, his daughter-in-law, had been acting like a loose woman and was with child. And Judah said, "Take her out and let her be burned." And while she was being taken out, she sent word to her father-in-law, saying, "The man whose property these things are is the father of my child. Say then, whose are this ring and this cord and this stick?" Then Judah said openly that they were his, and said, "She is more upright than I am, for I did not give her to Shelah my son, and he had no more connection with her." And when the time came for her to give birth, it was clear that there were 2 children in her body. And while she was in the act of giving birth, one of them put out his hand. And the woman who was with her put a red thread round his hand, saying, "This one came out first." But then he took his hand back again, and his brother came first to birth. And the woman said, "What an opening you have made for yourself." So he was named Perez. And then his brother came out, with the red thread round his hand, and he was named Zerah. Genesis 39. Now Joseph was taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar the Egyptian, a captain of high position in Pharaoh's house, got him for a price from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he did well. And he was living in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, making everything he did go well. And having a high opinion of Joseph as his servant, he made him the overseer of his house and gave him control over all he had. And from the time when he made him overseer and gave him control of all his property, the blessing of the Lord was with the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on all he had in the house and in the field. And he gave Joseph control of all his property, keeping no account of anything, but only the food which was put before him. Now Joseph was very beautiful in form and face. And after a time his master's wife, looking on Joseph with desire, said to him, "Be my lover." But he would not, and said to her, "You see that my master keeps no account of what I do in his house, and has put all his property in my control, so that no one has more authority in this house than I have. He has kept nothing back from me but you, because you are his wife. How then may I do this great wrong, sinning against God?" And day after day she went on requesting Joseph to come to her and be her lover, but he would not give ear to her. Now one day he went into the house to do his work, and not one of the men of the house was inside. And pulling at his coat, she said, "Come to my bed." But slipping out of his coat, he went running away. And when she saw that he had got away, letting her keep his coat, she sent for the men of her house and said to them, "See, he has let a Hebrew come here and make sport of us. He came to my bed, and I gave a loud cry. And hearing it, he went running out without his coat. And she kept his coat by her till his master came back. Then she gave him the same story, saying, 'The Hebrew servant whom you have taken into our house came in to make sport of me. And when I gave a loud cry, he went running out without his coat. And hearing his wife's account of what his servant had done, he became very angry. And Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, in the place where the king's prisoners were kept in chains, and he was there in the prison house. But the Lord was with Joseph and was good to him, and made the keeper of the prison his friend. And the keeper of the prison put all the prisoners under Joseph's control, and he was responsible for whatever was done there. And the keeper of the prison gave no attention to anything which was under his care, because the Lord was with him, and the Lord made everything he did go well. Genesis 40. Now after these things, the chief servant who had the care of the wine, and the chief bread maker in Pharaoh's house did something against Pharaoh's orders. And Pharaoh was angry with his two servants, with the chief wine servant and the chief bread maker, and he put them in prison under the care of the captain of the army, in the same prison where Joseph himself was shut up. And the captain put them in Joseph's care, and he did what was needed for them, and they were kept in prison for some time. And these two had a dream on the same night. The chief wine servant and the chief bread maker of the king of Egypt, who were in prison, the two of them had dreams with a special sense. And in the morning when Joseph came to them, he saw that they were looking sad. And he said to the servants of Pharaoh who were in prison with him, "Why are you looking so sad?" Then they said to him, "We have had a dream." And Joseph said, "Does not the sense of dreams come from God? What was your dream?" Then the chief wine servant gave Joseph an account of his dream, and said, "In my dream I saw a vine before me, and on the vine were 3 branches, and it seemed as if it put out buds and flowers, and from them came grapes ready for cutting. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and crushing them into Pharaoh's cup, gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand." Then Joseph said, "This is the sense of your dream. The 3 branches are 3 days. After 3 days Pharaoh will give you honor and put you back into your place, and you will give him his cup as you did before, when you were his wine servant. But keep me in mind when things go well for you, and be good to me, and say a good word for me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this prison. For truly I was taken by force from the land of the Hebrews, and I have done nothing for which I might be put in prison." Now when the chief bread maker saw that the first dream had a good sense, he said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and in my dream there were 3 baskets of white bread on my head, and in the top basket were all sorts of cooked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds were taking them out of the baskets on my head." Then Joseph said, "This is the sense of your dream. The 3 baskets are 3 days. After 3 days Pharaoh will take you out of prison, hanging you on a tree, so that your flesh will be food for birds." Now the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all his servants. And he gave honor to the chief wine servant and the chief bread maker among the others. And he put the chief wine servant back in his old place, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But the chief bread maker was put to death by hanging, as Joseph had said. But the wine servant did not keep Joseph in mind or give a thought to him. Thank you for reading the Bible with us. See you tomorrow. If you enjoy, share, and subscribe to the channel.